Hi everybody. We're going to give people a minute or so to join in the Facebook Live here on the Nails Magazine Facebook page. And while we're giving people a chance to join, we're going to share this on our Facebook pages. And while we're waiting for people to join the Facebook Live broadcast, we would really appreciate if you would share the broadcast on your page. Mine's refreshing. How about yours?
Yes.
There it is. Hi Nancy, thanks for joining us. Feel free to share the Facebook Live broadcast to your personal page as a nail professional or to your professional page, because we're going to be discussing feet and shoes and their relevance in life, so this information could be beneficial to your salon clients as well as to yourself. One page down, one to go. Wow, Heidi's joining us from Denmark.
Nice. Hi, Heidi. Turn my volume down so I don't get any feedback.
Yeah, I've got mine on mute. All right, I've got this pulled up so that we can make sure and see all of your comments throughout the broadcast. We've also shared it on our pages so that other nail professionals can find the broadcast as we go live, and we hope that you have also shared it on your page. For those of you that don't know, I'm Holly. My name is the FingerNailFixer. Some of you may follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. I also blog for Nails Magazine as well as being a contributing editor. We're here today in the Tips of the Trade Studios, which is like a nail dream come true of playthings, to talk to you about feet and about shoes. There's some really interesting information about both of those that come together that really make things kind of make sense when it comes to a lot of the things we deal with during our pedicures in the salon. We would love to have your questions and your feedback, and any questions that we are not able to get to during the live broadcast, one or both of us will definitely come in and answer your questions after the broadcast below in the comments, so that we're sure not to miss anything. Again, thank you so much for joining us.
And please have patience with me. This is one of my very first Facebook Live broadcasts. I've helped with them before, but I've always been on the other side of the camera.
It's much more fun to be on your side of the camera for one of these, for sure. For those of you that haven't met BFF Mel, this is my other half of my nail soul. She's my absolute very best friend. And she seems to think in some of the similar ways that I do. So when we're talking about all things nails, you know that person that you can bounce ideas off of, and you don't even really have to have the idea fully finished. They totally get what you're talking about. It's like a secret communication between your brains. And so when I talked to her about doing some Facebook Live broadcasts with me, she was really on board, and I'm so excited to share her knowledge and the way that we coordinate knowledge with all of you, because it's so much easier to do our jobs every day knowing that there are people out there that think the way that we do and that get what we're talking about and aren't just like, oh, that weirdo nail girl, she's just like so bizarre, and man, that nail stuff is just out there. I actually had someone yesterday that was like, are there really that many people that do nails that you need to teach them classes? And I was like, totally.
Yes. We need to clue them into our world.
Exactly. So we hope you enjoy kind of a peek into our world of how our minds work and some of the additional information that we enjoy knowing to make the pedicure a more full-on, full-circle service.
Yes, one of the things we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes is shoes. And I think shoes is one of those things that we have a tendency to overlook their importance in our everyday life. I mean, you go to your closet, how many pairs do you have? Actually, I don't think I'm going to say that live so my husband doesn't know to go count. But shoes really have a major importance in our daily lives. I recently spoke to a podiatrist. I was looking at setting up a referral system with an area podiatrist where he could trust sending clients to me to be well cared for, and I could send clients to him to share the observations that I had made, that he could take my word for it. Okay, I see this developing. Anyway, he said probably 90% of people out there don't either wear the right size or the right style of shoe, which really, that number really surprised me. I couldn't believe it was that many.
Well, I think part of it is, how often do we go into a shoe store and think about, oh, this shoe looks like it would be the right style for the size of my foot. I know I have never once taken that into consideration. I go in and I'm like, oh my gosh, I must have that shoe. It's sparkly, or it's fuzzy, or it has this really cool design. So I definitely have never shopped shoes on what the style is for the size of my foot. I've always shopped them on what looks really awesome.
Right. So, how many of you out there like to wear high heels? And actually, I try and stay away from them because I'm not that good on my feet. But if you like to wear high heels, do you wear them for fun, or do you wear them for work? Because if you wear them for work in the salon, you might not have a very long career ahead of you, and I'm sure your feet don't appreciate that. We're going to kind of give you a few insights as to why high heels are actually kind of evil for your feet.
Don't we know they're evil when your toes all cramp? I know sometimes you see people take them off like halfway through an event and they're like, oh, my poor feet. It's like, why do you? And they're so cute.
How many brides come back after a wedding and tell you, oh, those shows were so cute, but I only wore them like right up to the beginning of the reception, then I slipped into flip-flops.
Exactly. And anymore they have like decorated flip-flops or tennis shoes for the reception instead of wearing the fancy shoes all the way through.
Right.
So I'd love to see a show of hands in the chat who wears high heels. Go ahead and either post the little raising hand icon or say me, and let us know how high are your high heels. Who's at an inch? Who's at 2 inch? Who's wearing 3 inch, 4 inch? I want to know how high your high heels are. Let's compare notes. I think it'd be really fascinating because we have people from all around the world that have joined us on the Facebook Live to see what the different heights are for standard high heels all around the world. I think it could be really fascinating to see the comments.
Oh, I like what Lydia in here has to say. I always tell my clients your pedicure is about your total health, which is so true. It's always nice to leave with beautiful polished nails, but it's really your health you are taking care of. Kind of wish pedicures could be considered maintenance by, health maintenance, those well visits that you get to the doctor for free, because of how much better your body health can be if your feet are healthy.
Absolutely. I know as a diabetic, it's really important for me to get a regular pedicure, not only to have beautiful toes, but also so that I know my feet are in good health. I trust my nail professional to tell me if there are any injuries on my feet that I haven't noticed, especially on the bottom of my feet. I know I also have to trust my nail professional to not trim any living tissue or to cut me with a file. And so for me, a pedicure is definitely about my personal health. And that is something we can explain to clients, even if they're not diabetic. It's still beneficial for their personal grooming and their personal health, because we're standing on our feet a lot of times throughout the day. And especially if we're wearing improper shoes or improperly fitted shoes, then we're doing a lot of damage that regular maintenance is not necessarily going to eliminate, but can definitely minimize a little bit. We now have fur babies joining us for the broadcast, so we may giggle spontaneously at the antics as they help us out.
Yes, so if you hear meowing or barking, I apologize. I have 3 fur babies in the house, and this one in here in particular is having a good time with my markers I left on the floor.
Yeah, we may have to hunt for them to do that portion.
So anyway, a little bit about shoes. Now that we realize it's something we take for granted, don't realize, maybe not always think about how far back the history of shoes goes. They figure archaeologists say they can probably date shoes or foot coverings back about 35,000 years. Wow. The oldest pair of shoes that they have found that they could classify as shoes that they have actually found in an archaeological site was found in a cave in Armenia in 2008. They were basically a pair of, it was more like a piece of leather wrapped around the foot and almost laced with a piece of leather and lined with grasses. And they guessed those to be from about 3500 BC. So we can for sure date back a single pair of shoes to 5,000 years ago.
And it's really important to know that shoes have been around for so long, because then we can kind of understand how long it's been important for the feet to be protected from the elements.
Yes, so when shoes first got started, they were meant to protect the feet. Shoes are 7 basic styles, and because I can't memorize them all, I'm going to read them off. The 7 basic types of shoes are moccasin, a sandal, the boot, the pump, the Oxford, the mule, and the clog. And all basic types of shoes were invented for and by men.
What? I am shocked.
Okay, we may have to have new pieces of paper because there may be claw marks in those. Okay. And right today we're used to having shoes that are a left and right foot. For centuries, shoes were basically straight. They were considered them straights. The first left and right shoes were introduced in around 1824, but people thought they made their feet look crooked, so they didn't like them. They made a resurgence again in the 1860s and became commonplace in about the 1900s.
I really can't imagine wearing straight shoes. Like, I'm so worried about when I buy tennis shoes that it's like the right arch fit and it's comfortable. So the idea of a shoe being straight sounds uncomfortable to me. So it's funny that they dismissed it based on style, even though it would have been more comfortable and better for their feet. It just kind of goes to show that as humans, our thinking maybe has not evolved all that much, because we're still going for what we think looks visually appealing versus what's good for us.
Okay, so shoes in the last 100 years. How many of you have that favorite pair of Chuck Taylors? Sorry, that was the cat.
Yes, we're being entertained.
How many of you have those pair of Chuck Taylors that are just like the cool shoes to wear? Okay, I have at least 2 pairs. I know lots of people, they're cool to wear. The rock stars wear them, the grunge people wear them. But did you have any idea that the first pair of Chuck Taylors that weren't technically a Chuck Taylor yet, they were introduced in 1917 as a pair of basketball shoes called non-skids. Chuck Taylor himself was a basketball player that worked for the Converse shoe company. He started working for them in 1923. He went on to improve their basketball shoe, and the first pair of Chuck Taylor All-Stars, kind of as we know them now, were introduced in 1932. So your cool little flats that are comfy to wear with everything have been around for quite a while. But you didn't know they were that old.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I kind of had fun researching this. I find feet and shoes kind of interesting.
We apologize for the interruption in the broadcast. We're not really sure what disconnected us. And so we'll go back to what we were discussing. I believe you were showing them the book that you enjoy. Yes. And we'll go ahead and put that up for just a couple seconds and give everyone a chance to hop back on to the broadcast. I'm going to go post.
So I probably need to find it again.
And for those of you that are not able to stay connected, whether it's our connection or your connection or something off in cyberspace, because who knows what it could be, I will make sure to save this to the Nails Magazine page as well as download it and post it on YouTube so that you'll have access to the full video. So I need to close this as well. Did it come up for you, the new one?
Yes, I believe so. Not on the iPad, but on the phone.
There we go.
Oh, the wonderful world of live broadcasts, right?
Right. Where everything that can go wrong will,
Usually
because
does.
that's how life
Yes,
works.
that's Murphy's Law.
All right. Hi, Tara. Hello, Brenda. Hi, Alyssa. Thanks for joining us. We'll give everyone a few more seconds to figure out that we resumed the broadcast. And again, I will put them together into one YouTube video so that everyone makes sure to get all of the information so that we don't miss out. Do you want to take the book just a little bit closer? It's hard to see from that far away.
Tell me where I should stop.
Pause for just a second so the computer catches up to us. Perfect.
Okay, and I wanted to show the back of them
Okay.
because I like the Louboutins, at least I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly. The Louboutin ballerina slipper.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I think it's interrupting us again. Oh nope, it says we're still there.
Okay.
All right. Brilliant. And then I'm not sure if it cut out on us before you showed the polish last time. I think
Okay.
the polish is hilarious.
Okay. Holly wanted me to note that I have a bottle of Louboutin red polish, and the handle of the polish bottle here is meant to represent the heel of the ballerina slipper. Also, what many may not know is Christian Louboutin got his idea for a red sole of his shoe because at a runway fashion show one time he didn't like how the shoes looked, so he grabbed a bottle of red polish and polished the bottom of the soles of the shoes, and that became his signature mark. And this is his signature red.
Awesome. It looks like we've got several of our viewers switched over to the broadcast that is now connected again. And so let's get back into our foot discussion.
Okay, so we got as far as the history of, on Chuck Taylors. But now for how about the history of high heels? Okay. I've been researching the history of high heels. I found several different stories. The two most common that I found, the first one is that high heels kind of got their start kind of in Turkish baths, but started to become more popular in Venice, Italy, where prostitutes wore them so they could stand above their competition and be more noticeable, and they could get up to as high as 20 inches. So they were really more like a platform shoe. Then they eventually caught on with the aristocracy in Venice and kind of swept Europe.
Talk about crazy self-marketing.
Right.
Let me teeter around on stilts so that I stand above my competition.
Yes, let me stand still, because that's what I would be doing.
Exactly.
The other common story that I find, and it's the one that I like better, is Catherine de' Medici of Italy married King Henry II of France in 1547. She was petite in stature, and she kind of felt a little self-conscious about how she looked, and the king's mistress was tall, so she wanted to kind of be able to compete with the mistress. So she had her tailors made shoes for her with at least a 2-inch heel on them. As a result, that made her hips sway and look all sexy when she walked and danced, as we all know, and we've worn heels. But they started to become very popular in Europe, and they became all the rage, to the point that church clergy branded them devices of Satan to stir the lusts of men.
Which is hilarious because, like, if men invented them,
right?
Gee, I wonder why.
Nobody cared how their hips swayed when they walked.
Exactly.
And in 1770, it was a law adopted in England, but it was also adopted in Massachusetts, and I've also read in New Jersey, that if a woman through the use of cosmetics devices and high heels lured a subject of Her Majesty into marriage, she could be tried as a witch.
The things that they won't do to explain their
attraction.
desires.
Yes.
Hello from British Columbia.
Yes, hello. We have all the fur babies in here now.
Yes,
They're all winning attention. So
hello from everyone. It's kind
Yes.
of like when you get on the phone and your kids all of a sudden realize
Yes.
you exist. Otherwise, they have no use for you.
they wanted nothing to do with us when we were sitting down here not broadcasting, and now all three want to be in the limelight. So, the first shoes that we know as stilettos were introduced in about the 1930s, where they became that long, narrow point. Now, on average, our feet have about 25,000 pounds per square inch of pressure when we walk.
Wow, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
I didn't know I weighed that much.
On average. So, 1 inch of heel transfers 25% of your body's weight to the ball of your foot. The ball of the foot was not designed for weight bearing. It's designed for balance and walking. So 2 inches of heel can put 50% of your body's weight on the ball of your foot. 4 inches of heel, those wonderful stilettos, you're basically carrying all 100% of your weight on the balls of your feet, which is not what it was designed for. So, you know, however many gals come into your pedicure chairs and be like, oh, my pinky toe, it just doesn't grow right, it's jacked, it looks funny, I'm sorry for that. And we go, well, it's typically the average, it's more what you see more often than not, but really you're fine, it's normal. It's because of all the shoes we've tried to squeeze our feet into over the years.
We all want to be Cinderella. We all want to have the slippers fit us.
Right. You know, I have people ask me, well, doesn't it bother you to do men's pedicures? Actually, no. Men's feet have a tendency to be in better shape than women's because they're not trying to wear those stilettos. So, oh, and I looked it up. The most expensive pair of shoes I could find, and pretty much every list said the same thing, was Harry Winston, who is a famous jeweler, created a pair of ruby slippers with real rubies, and they cost $3 million.
I can think of better things to do with $3 million.
Me too.
And a lot of it would involve nails.
Well, as you can see, my room. Yes.
Right? I think I need a nail shrine.
Yes. Okay, so we show them exactly what can happen to your feet in high heels.
Yes, we should totally play with the markers now.
Okay, I have a demonstration ready for us.
Am I going to trace you first?
Yes, I want them to see the shoes.
Oh, yeah. Super cute shoes. They're soft and fuzzy. They're gorgeous siren red.
Yep.
They're fabulous.
And they don't get worn very often. You want this?
Yep. I'll give you this. Oh, here, I'll let you put the shoes on first in case it takes both hands.
I'm going to use my chair for balance.
Yeah, if we break a leg for this demo, that probably wouldn't be good.
No.
Look how cute those are, even with jeans.
Mm-hmm. This was a thing in the 80s. You wore little lacy heels, lacy little anklets, you know?
Nice.
Okay. I'm going to have Holly, sorry for the camera there, I'm going to have Holly trace around the outline of the sole of the shoe. And the itty bitty little heel there.
Got it.
Okay, so that's the signature you get when you're walking, right? Now, I'm going to line my foot up again and have her trace around it.
Almost.
Now I want you to see, look how much farther my foot's not all that big. Look how much farther my foot spreads past the imprint of my shoe would provide. Now we're going to do Holly's.
So my shoes, I went with a little more practical, everyday style. Something that maybe we would wear for work that's not quite as dramatically high.
Little peep toes there.
Right? You've got to show off your cute toes.
Right.
You got to not fall down.
That's why I use the chair for balance.
Whoop!
falling. Do you want the chair?
I'm gonna, I think, use the little glitter shelf.
Okay.
There we go. Now I've got a
Okay.
hold so that I don't fall over.
This is why we don't do heels.
Yes, it's exactly why I don't wear heels. I have terrible balance.
I'm great with my hands, but I'm not so good on my feet. It's hard to get under there.
It is hard to get under there. I practically had to lay on the floor.
Practice my left-handed drawing here.
There you go.
Not so much. All right.
Ah, much better.
Ready?
Yes.
Look at those fabulous geode toes somebody nice did for her last weekend.
I need to post those on Instagram this week with my mug.
She made me work on my day off. Made me think.
And think hard.
Right?
That's a little closer. So there seems to be some difference in between the red and the black. If our feet aren't really the same shape as the shoes, what does that mean for us?
That means we're being mean to our feet.
But the shoes make me look cute.
They do make you look cute. So, even the podiatrists will tell you, you don't have to give up your heels. Just use them with caution and be reasonable. Wear them to your event. Wearing high heels like this to work, especially if you're doing hair and your hands are up here all the time, that is just not practical for your long-term career. What it does to your spine, your shoulders, your neck, all the way up, high heels are they're just not your friend. Yes, they look fabulous, but they're not our friends. They basically stay on your feet by putting your toes and your heel into a vise. That doesn't sound comfortable.
It doesn't, and it's not comfortable realistically. When we take them off, I don't know anyone's like, oh, my feet feel amazing after wearing those for hours. It's usually like, oh, my feet.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
Right? It's for that leg silhouette.
Yes, elongate and etc. I've seen different posts on, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever. So do this and you'll never have, foot pain again when you wear high heels. One of them was taping your second and your third toes together. Almost thought I was bleeding. It's red Sharpie. Is taping your toes together and it won't cause you pain. Really?
Like, how's that not going to cause you pain? They're
How's
still
that-
the same size.
how
It
is
doesn't
that
shrink
supposed to
your
help?
toes.
Go lay down. Okay, do we have any questions that we should be addressing?
It looks like mostly just some comments. Thank you for the compliment on our toes, Alyssa. We did swap services on Sunday, so they're nice, fresh toes. They look amazing.
Well, we watched the Oscars.
Yes, yes. And do you guys have any questions before we sign off? If there's anything that we missed in the switching of the broadcast, definitely let us know that we missed it, and we'll get to that in the comments and answers after we shut off the broadcast. But is there anything that you needed us to cover for you or discuss before we sign off?
I do have one other pair of shoes to share that are just because they're
Oh,
freaking
yeah, they
fabulous.
totally-
you
totally
have to see
share
these.
those.
Yes, you have to see these.
Make sure you move them around
Yes.
and catch the light sufficiently.
Yes, Jimmy Choo's. They are on loan. I did not purchase them myself. But is that like every glitter queen's dream?
And you should totally do your toes to match.
Oh yeah.
It should look like your toes are the shoes are to complement your toes.
Yeah, since they're peep toes, absolutely. When I do try and put these on, I feel like I'm falling forward though, because they're really pretty high.
I bet your leg muscles are like, poof.
I had to have help, so I wasn't I literally was like, ah.
So this is probably why women have always like hooked onto the guy's arm. It's not to be close, it's for balance.
That's it.
Oh, who knew that they were crutches?
Another mystery solved.
Exactly.
So in light of what the high-heeled shoes how detrimental they can be to our feet and how they affect their health, I believe our next Facebook Live broadcast we're going to touch on reflexology.
And definitely let us know if there's anything you'd like us to cover. We're going to be broadcasting live the second Monday of every month until June at 11 a.m. Central Time, which is noon on the East Coast. In California, it's 9 a.m. Mountain Time, it's 10 a.m. And in the other countries, I list that on the blog because I have to cheat and use my phone to look it up. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We'd love to hear your feedback on what types of things you'd like us to cover in the Facebook Live posts.
Absolutely.
Other than the reflexology, there's really not anything set in stone. If there's anything specific you would like to know about reflexology, definitely let us know in your comments. And we'll be posting a follow-up blog on today's Facebook Live probably next week.
Oh, yes.
And we'll put some information with the names and authors of the books and all of that fun stuff, as well as some cool images like the one that she's going to pull up for you.
An x-ray of what your feet look like in your shoes.
I like the colors.
Yes. I think that's what drew my attention to it, but we'll include this in the blog.
Like, I spy some really cool nail eye ideas. Across your nails with like the x-ray throbbing colors. It would be wicked. So I digress. Thanks so much for joining us from wherever you are in the world. BFF Mel for Mel's Tips of the Trade on Facebook and the Fingernail Fixer. And we're signing off until next month.
Thank you.